Notice number 6, plastic recycling.
I call the member for Fremantle.
Motion relating to plastic recycling in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper.
Continue.
Deputy Speaker, the world has a very serious plastic problem. We make and consume too much of it, especially in the form of flimsy disposable crap that is unnecessary and ends up causing serious harm to the environment. 2 weeks ago, the ABC ran a story as follows. A previously unknown disease in seabirds caused by the ingestion of plastic has been found on Lord Howe Island by scientists from the United Kingdom and Australia. Named plasticosis, the newly classified disease is caused by plastic that repeatedly injures soft tissue and leads to the formation of extensive scar tissue in a bird's stomach. One of the researchers, Ms. Charlton Howard, noted there are over 1,000 marine species known to ingest plastic. Now, how awful is that? Deputy Speaker, everyday Australians have shown again and again their dismay in relation to plastic waste and their preparedness to support the change that is required. But it's not principally individuals and households that need to fix this problem. It is companies and it is government. Unfortunately, we haven't made great progress on that front. In aggregate terms, our consumption of plastic hasn't greatly reduced and our recycling and reuse of plastic hasn't greatly improved. Yes, we've made some welcome progress in relation to single-use plastic, and we should celebrate that. And we should remember that when people claim it's impossible to shift away from this or that form of plastic, the same thing was said about eliminating plastic cutlery and straws and cups and so on. But in terms of the big picture, there hasn't been much change. And the REDcycle debacle is a reminder of how we need to be absolutely rigorous in demanding that change occur, that we measure it and that we hold those responsible to account. I don't understand how that scheme ran for years without anyone knowing that the collection of soft plastics for recycling was not resulting in any actual recycling. In Woolworth's 2022 sustainability report, it says, REDcycle recycled 4,608 tonnes of plastic through Woolworths supermarkets across Australia, a 58% growth on previous year. In Coles' 2022 sustainability report, it says, since the REDcycle program began, more than 9,675 tonnes of flexible plastic have been returned to our supermarkets across Australia. The soft plastic is converted into a range of products including playground furniture, supermarket trolleys, fence posts and as a base for roads. But in reality, since 2018, more than 12,000 tonnes of soft plastic has been stockpiled. It hadn't been converted to anything other than warehouses full of plastic that presented a fire risk. And the former coalition government lauded the REDcycle program at every opportunity, including at their much-vaunted Plastics Summit in 2020. But like so many of their supported initiatives, there wasn't much substance, just lots of packaging. Deputy Speaker, as far as I'm concerned, there are still serious questions to answer in relation to how the supermarkets and the former government remained in the dark about what can only be described as an abject failure. Australians diligently collected and dropped off their soft plastics, and they were told it was being recycled. At the same time, the coalition spent millions of taxpayer dollars running ads to that effect. But in reality, for years, the REDcycle arrangement was a charade. Deputy Speaker, the Environment Minister, the member for Sydney, has been resolute about these matters and about the scale of the challenge. Under the Minister's leadership, this government has allocated $60 million to tackle hard-to-recycle materials like soft plastic, and we've established a national task force on the circular economy. But the Minister has rightly said that in the face of failed voluntary schemes with respect to product stewardship, there will come a time when co-regulatory or mandatory schemes with proper reporting and compliance will need to be applied. We've seen the Australian Packaging Covenant drift along without delivering any meaningful change in key areas like the use of recycled plastic in new packaging. The 2025 APCO target is to achieve a relatively modest 20% of recycled plastic in new packaging by that date, and yet the current level has been stuck at 2 to 3% for years. One of the many reports the previous government kept stonily silent about was the consultant review at the end of 2021 that made it patently clear the APCO targets were badly off track and would not be met. Deputy Speaker, if we want to make serious progress towards a circular economy, which we must achieve if we want to stop the scourge of ocean plastic and ensure our sustainable use of limited resources, then we need effective market design, effective regulation and serious corporate social responsibility. Australians have been crystal clear about what they expect, and they've shown and keep showing their preparedness to take action and make choices in the name of avoiding waste, stopping environmental damage like plasticosis and building a sustainable, resilient circular economy. The Albanese Labor government is not going to shirk our responsibility on that front.
Is there a seconder for